Hi everybody, I am Casanova from Giant Slayer and Wisdom, and I'm here today with a very special interview with Henneky. We're so happy to have you here, man. Worlds qualified, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so I mentioned Worlds qualified. I know that's got to feel pretty nice, but every time you've been in the top cut, you've been in there 3 times so far for this seasonal tournament, and you have made it only to the top 4. Now, yes, you are Worlds qualified, but is that enough for you, Henneky, or do you feel like you need more out of the seasonals or out of Worlds?
I mean, top four is pretty good, but I would love to win a seasonal. Every time I reach top four, I can't help but feel a little bit frustrated because you get so close, and yet there's still that little hurdle you need to get over those last 2 matches that I just can't seem to win. So yeah, I would like to get back to seasonals and win one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can understand that frustration where it's like, even though top 4 has been a big goal, of course, to make it to Worlds for a lot of players, when you've done it a couple of times like you have, Henneky, it might not end up being enough. But I wanted to touch a bit more on that. You're a player that is kind of a bit of an enigma for a lot of the people in the community because you came into Monuments of Power as what we have seen as your first top cut. Now, that may not be true, but what we saw is that was your first top cut, and you took it to top 4, and then immediately was able to come back to another seasonal and another seasonal. 3 times you've made the top cut, and 1 time you didn't qualify to even play in the seasonals. So I just wanted to ask you, really, I wanted to just get a peek behind the curtain of Henneky. How do you see yourself as a player coming into these events? And do you see yourself as one of the best, or do you see yourself as an underdog that has scrapped your way to the top?
Yeah, I think at Monuments of Power, I had a really like random cool meta tech. I was just gonna bring triple Notify, triple Deny in every deck and just try and play against Go Hard and Field Rush. So I don't think I was a great player at the time, but I had a really good meta call. When I came into the second seasonal, I knew I had improved a lot by then, and so I think reaching top 4 there was kind of a testament to how much I had improved. But then when I couldn't make it out of 0 LP range in the third seasonal, like I really tried my best. I was like 500 LP on the Monday, and then by the Thursday, I was 0 LP and I could not win a game. So that was a bit rough. But I think since then, I've learned quite a lot as a player. And I would say when I was top 4ing seasonals, I was definitely not a top 4 player. But I think at this point, I kind of feel like I've gotten my play up to that level.
So it's very funny too, because it feels like this was kind of your come up in Legends of Runeterra. And there was a question back when you first qualified into the seasonal that was like, do you have any other competitive experience? And you put down that you've only ever really played like 1 Pokemon Draft League, and that was it. Now, is this true, Henneky? Is that the only competitive experience? And if it is, like, where does this competitive spirit and competitive drive come from?
I've always been like a very competitive guy. I've just never been really particularly good at any like video game before, so I don't have a lot to put down. But like whatever I get into, I'll always try and learn as much as I can, try and compete at the highest level I can. I have a little bit of card game background. I played some mobile games like Duel Links and Plants vs Zombies Heroes, which is they're kind of not the top of the line competitive games, but it gave me a bit of experience in terms of strategic thinking and that sort of stuff. But yeah.
No, I mean, that's great to hear. And I mean, you've come a long way in Legends of Runeterra from somebody that really we did not know what to expect from coming into the first seasonal, where it was your first season as a Masters player, even, which, I have to admit, Blevins and I really underrated you coming into that tournament because we just did not know what you were capable of. And now it's at the point where I see people, some top players in Discord communities, saying Henneky is the only good player in Legends of Runeterra. So with that kind of weight on your shoulders going into Worlds, do you feel like you have no longer been able to hold on to that little underdog title that you might have been trying to keep, and now you feel like you might be a favorite going in for the North American side of Worlds?
I don't really hold too much weight in being the underdog. I like being the favorite. It feels pretty good.
That is great to hear, because I think for a lot of players, you really are becoming the favorite. And so I want to talk more about Worlds and coming into that as potentially one of the favorites out of the North American and also just America's region in general. Do you feel really confident going into Worlds that you can make it to the top levels of this, that you can make that top 4, get to the finals against all the other regions? Or are you a little bit nervous about, going in against all of these players that have topped or topped ladder and have just the highest caliber that we've seen out of lore?
Yeah, I mean, within the Americas region, I'm definitely confident that I can make it to top 5 and head to Worlds. I'm really curious to see how the other top players in the world compete. Like, I want to see how some of the European players like Sergey play. I want to see how JO1 plays. I would love to get to Worlds and compete against the best that the rest of the world has to offer, for sure.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you specifically about who you wanted to play against. So Sergey and JO1 are amazing people to shout out already, both exceptional players in their respective regions. So I guess I'll pull it back a little bit and say, is there anyone in the Americas that you're either worried about or expecting is a shoo-in to also make that top 5 and get to the next level?
I wouldn't say there's anyone particularly I'm worried about. There's a lot of the players I respect in the community, like Jordan, What Am I, Cephalopod, Majin. But I would say the one person I really want to play against is 4LW. I played him in the very first seasonals. So as I mentioned earlier, I had the triple Ionia list, and I just wanted to play against Gohard and FDR, and I matched against him in the 3rd round of seasonals tournaments. And I had followed the grassroots scene for a while, so I knew that he was a really, really good player. And so he pulled up with his Gohard and his Field Rush, and in the very first game, he just was completely dominating me with Gohard versus Fiorashen, and I was kind of starting to rethink my strategy. And then he disconnected, and I won that game. And I've always wondered since then what would have happened if he didn't disconnect in that match. And ever since then, I've been waiting for the chance to meet him in a seasonals tournament or at Worlds or whatever to give him that proper match.
That is crazy because, yeah, 4LW, as someone who has been in the grassroots scene for some time, 4LW is one of the best players in Brazil, in the Americas region. He held the title of best in Brazil for a long time, and I think it would be awesome to see that match actually get to happen, as you're one of the best North American players, he's one of the best South American players, and getting that battle for maybe a slot at Worlds would be great to watch. Thank you so much for coming here today and spending time with me to have this interview, Henneky. I want to wish you luck at Worlds coming up. I really hope to see you topping that, as you are one of the players that has just really had this meteoric rise. So thank you so much, and best of luck.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.